Trying to get where we can see. Good morning, everyone. This is Becky here at Aunt Beck's Creations. Just going to move my chair out the way. And we need to lose some of the outdoor lighting. I have the windows open so I can watch the birds. But I got to close the blinds so you guys can see what I'm going to do. And I'll open them back up after we're finished. How's that? Got just one more to close. Should have done it before I started. Such is reality. And I don't claim to be the perfect cameraman either. So there, you got that too. All right, so this week's stitch is called the Tunisian reverse stitch. And you'll see it abbreviated as TSR. And we're also going to do the striped version of it. That's why you see this is the TSR, the Tunisian reverse stitch. And this is the Tunisian reverse stitch in a stripe format. So I'm just going to do a little sample and just share both as we go, because I think you can get the gist of it. So I'm going to set these aside. And I left the autofocus on just so you guys can see maybe a little better. So let's start with just the plain. And get me a loop going here. And I'm only going to do 10 stitches. Hi, Pam. I'm going to do 10 stitches. So you chain 10. So we'll count off 10. And I've got that a little too tight. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, let's try again. 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, and I'm going to do like we learned from the first lady. And when I say we've already learned it, there's a playlist for this whole techniques or we're learning. And if I can find tutorials, I share the tutorials and introduce you to other channels. But when I can't find a tutorial, this is what you guys get. So, all right. So I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to work in those back bumps on the back side and just work my stitches back on. Maybe if I can get it in there. This is the fiddly bit of the whole thing, just getting these back on. And I haven't had breakfast yet, so I've got a low blood sugar shake. So sorry about that, guys. This takes me a minute to get this part done. But you got to do this part to be able to get on to the next part. And because I'm only doing 10 stitches, you don't have to be in pain too long. Now, see, I accidentally pulled through the loop. I don't want to do that. So we're just going to back that stitch back so it's separate. Yeah, this is the part that I really have to usually get it up to my nose to see what I'm doing. And if you don't work your chain too tight, this is a lot easier. And I probably worked my chain a little on the tight side. But it'll loosen up as we go. Maybe. I have to concentrate, so that's why I get quiet. It's like, come on. But however you found it, the easiest way for you to start your blocks off, you go for it. I've been doing this. So I want to continue doing it so my blocks kind of look the same. I got one more. And when I get to the end, I don't care how many I have on there. I just do a quick count. Should be 10 stitches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So we've done the chain and then the crochet on. Then you have to do the crochet off. So go through 1 and then through 2 and through 2 until you get back to the other side. I can do regular crochet so much faster than this. I don't know about the rest of you. All right, so now you're going to do the stitch, okay? We're going to be, you know how we worked in the Tunisian simple, we worked on the bar that sticks up right here. This one, you have to tilt your work toward you because we're going to work in the bars back here. So the first one is hard to see. You have to kind of work it until you see your first bar. You're just going to go into that back bar and then pull up a loop. All right, and then tilt it forward, get that back bar, go through there. It's a pretty easy stitch. And once you get going and you kind of tilt it forward, you can see your back bars. They'll just lay on the top. Do you see where I'm going on the back? I don't know if it's going to do. There. And then you pull through. Go through your back bar and pull through. There's the back bar and pull through. And you do that across until you get to the stitch, your last bar. And then it said in the book to do your side stitch. So I just came and you find the front bar here and then it's corresponding at the back and that's where you go through. So you go under this and through that and draw up. So you work your back bars and then you do a side stitch. Okay. So then I'm going to do one more of the regular rows. I'm hoping you can see. It just doesn't. I don't think my camera likes this light. Am I off screen? Was I off screen for the last stitch? I'll do it. I'm going to do another row, so we'll see it again here in just a sec. Sorry about that, Marty. Thanks for letting me know. All right, so we're back. And remember, if you pull your work a little bit, you can see the bars at the front. And so that first bar is the one that's hardest to find. Push your yarn so it's behind the hook. Then tilt it forward. And if you push it out of your way, then you can see that first bar there. And that's where you insert your hook. Okay, so we're going to draw up. And you can see, if you tilt your work toward you, you can see those bars pretty easy. And I'll show you that side stitch again here in just a minute. Do I always get my side stitch in the right spot? No, and I'll show you that on my blocks. The bar sticks up above all the other stitches. That'll give you an idea of how you can visibly see it. And my blocks are finishing with 20 stitches. The 20 stitches that I do, my blocks are finishing at like 5 1/4 inches square. All right, so I worked there's 9 stitches on there. So now I need to do that side stitch. So if you look at your side, you're looking for the stitches that lay on the side. So I'm going to do, there's like a little bar here, and then there's one that corresponds toward the back. And that's where I'm going to pull mine through. All right, see there how it's going through? And it looks like a mountain. You want to make sure you have one at the front and one at the back. And then I just pull through that. And again, I do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So was I okay that time? Do y'all see on the side? When you look at my piece here, this is the simple, not simple, reverse stitch. This is what it'll look like. It'll be like little row. It'll have like legs that you barely see with lines. You'll see what I mean. But you can look at my side and you can see where I struggled here. And then once I figured it out, it gets nice and smooth. So not every one of mine has a perfect edge either. So don't freak yourself out about it. Just keep practicing. That's what we're doing these for. And so that's the Tunisian reverse stitch. This is my 5 1/4 inch block. You'll notice I do have some loops that are a little bit loose. If your tension gets a little off, you might have some loops like I have. You can see how it sticks up there. I'm not worried about that. Again, I'm learning with you guys. So I forgive anything like that and just move on, because the whole idea is to get the practice. All right, now we're going to do how to turn it into a stripe. You'll be changing color on the right side. So not on your return action, which when you work your stitches back off, that's called your return. When you're working in pattern, it goes from the right to the left. So you're going to change colors on the side you're working pattern, not the reverse. So I'm going to reverse these off. And these little samples that I do for you guys, I just pull them apart after I'm off and use my yarn for the next block. All right, and then you stop. When you get to the part where you have two loops still on your hook, that's where you're going to change your color, okay? So you drop that color away. And what I do, I'll show you in a minute. I'll bring in my second color. And I go ahead and I just do a loop, and I leave a tail that I can work in later. And I'm just going to tighten that down on my hook, but not super tight, because I want to be able to get my hook back in there. So I just drop the green, because I'll pick it up when I come back again. And I'm just going to pull what I just looped on there through. So that's my first stitch. Now this becomes tricky because you've got your working yarn is in your way. So you kind of have to pull that green over, maybe hold it between your left hand, and then push this out the way to find that first stitch is under here. You'll know if you miss the actual first stitch. The thing about when you're doing the change in color is it's so much easier to see where you need to go, because you're looking for the bar that's in the opposite color. So there's the next bar. See, I worked it a little tight. All right. And you're going to do that across. This gets easier when you get toward the end of your block. When you're right on, excuse me, when you're right on top of it, it's hard to get going. But The farther you get along, the better. I should have one more bar back here. And then this is where you can really see those side loops. There's one, and there's the other. And then draw up a loop. And we should have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And again, now you're just going to do the stitch. So through 1, through 2, through 2, through 2. You got to watch if your thread splits. Go ahead and remedy that while you're there and get it all around the hook how it's supposed to be. I found with this Caron Simply Soft, it has a tendency of splitting. See, I can tighten that down with its tail a little bit, pull it back. All right. Okay, we're on the last two. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my red skein and move it to the right, bring this one over. That way I can get those tails over here out of my way. See how I got them in my fingers? We're going to do this one through those two loops like that. I find with switching positions of my yarn, I keep a nice side on this other side. So here you can see how much easier it is to see where you need to go when you're switching color on the sides. And this is the side where I carried the yarn. So you will get a little, it'll look a little different where you've changed yarn out. At least that's my experience. But this is what you'll get after you've switched your yarn. It'll do like this. And the backs on these are equally as cool looking though. So that's the back of the striped one. I didn't show you the back of the reverse stitch. It looks like that. I think that looks as pretty as the front. That's something I think the Tunisian crochet is really cool about, is you get an interesting pattern on both sides of your block. All right, so if you pull this up and you turn this over, you can see your first bar, which is a little off here. I want to make sure I'm not getting the working yarn. See, even I struggle a little bit. I hope I've got that in the right spot. I don't think I do. No, I don't. Pull that back out. Let's see. Or did I? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, that was correct. If you're just joining us today, this is part of a series, and you don't always get me as the one doing the tutorial. If I can find another YouTuber that's already done a tutorial for a specific stitch, I will just send you over to them. But the last few stitches, I have not found anyone else that has done these. And these are supposed to be just simple stitches. Remember, it's the bar that sits up above all the other stitches. These are worked a little tight, so I'm having a little bit of trouble. It's hard to do the stitches and talk to you guys. So there's that. All right. So speed me up, slow me down, whatever you need to do. And I'd love to see pictures of your blocks, either on Instagram or Facebook. So you're just going to keep doing that. And see, I should have, when you're doing your striped block, when you're doing your striped block, you do your chain, then you do your return, and then you change your color. You can see on my stripe block, you see what I mean? You do your chain, then you do the return, and then you do your first stripe, and then you just doing the stripe block. The only reason this one looks different is I did the basic reverse stitch here first, and then I just showed how to change color. And you're just going to keep doing that switch how I do here. I'll do it one more time. So you know what I'm talking about when I say switch positions of your yarn. That way you don't end up with your yarn getting twisted or you forgetting which color you need to move to or whatever. All right, remember, leave the last two on your hook. Now I take the green and I switch places with the red. That way I can pull the green working tail out of the way. That tail needs to go. And then I'll pull my red up through those two loops. So you've got your first in pattern stitch on there. Turn it to the front. The working yarn is laying right here. You want to be careful you don't go through that. You want to go through what's underneath it. There's a bar stitch. So you just kind of push it out of the way, and there's your first bar stitch. It hides underneath the working yarn you're trying to carry along. And then you just tilt it forward, and there's your next bar. And as you get going, you can just pull your stitches so they're over and then laying toward you, and then you can see the bars. They just kind of line up in a row. And like I said, it's so much easier once you get a little ways on your block. Any questions? Ask them now or put them in the comments sections. If I've seen a question in the comments, I answer it. If you just are leaving a comment to say well done or whatever, that's great too, because once a month I do a hidden giveaway from the comments. So it's always good to come back and leave me a comment. All right. Again, you're going to find the little mountain here on the side where it comes up and down. You can see it. Looks like a little V upside down. That's where you do your side stitch. That's how you get a nice finish. All right. So let me see if you guys have any questions. Hi, Safia. I've seen you in other folks's. I'm trying to make sure I'm laying these down the right way. I think I am. So that's the 2 blocks you learned. Yes, I came on early. Scott's just drowsily waking up. So I said, I'll just go do my video now so that I can cook breakfast. Let's see. Hi, Angie. Oh, she had to come and go. That's fine. And Marty and Pam. And I know I'm on early, but usually you get the video. Thank you for subbing, Safia. Hello. And Nettie is here. And Leslie. Leslie, it is super easy when you start doing the change of color, because you can see what you're doing, especially since you're working basically from the back side of it. Oh, I bet a rainbow blanket would be gorgeous. You could do that in any of the stitches and just have a rainbow of colors. That would be beautiful. Hi, Mrs. Gigi. Yeah, I need to eat. I've been waiting for Scott to get up. And I'm going to go cook breakfast now. So I didn't see Marianne, so I figured I'd jump on and might do my video early and get y'all stitch up for this week. Next week's stitch, I'm going to see if I can find it on here, but they call it a mirror stitch. And it looks kind of like I'm hoping they have somebody else doing this. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay. This one I will have to practice, do my block. I might have to do a lot of ripping out before I figure out how to do it, but I'm going to do my best for y'all if I can't find a tutorial. Oh, Nettie's having bad internet. That's okay. It'll be up for you to watch again. I am on Instagram, and I believe it's Becky Carr McCauley on Instagram. But I am having so much fun with this. People were mentioning how they'd like to keep track. So I thought I'd share how I'm keeping track of each of these stitches. When we get all the stitches done, I'm going to take the blocks and put them into a sweater, but I will do a final video where I share all of the blocks we've made. So I want to make sure I've labeled them in some way. So what I'm doing is I'm just attaching a little piece of paper. So that was the seed stitch. Colored pinstripe with a right side change. Colored pinstripe with a left side change. And see, I did two of those because I did one with you all and then I did one on my own. So, and those worked up a little shorter, but those I could use like at the collar of a sweater. That was our pinstripes, pearl stripes. Actually, I think that's the back of the pearl stripes. Let me turn that around real quick. This is the front. At least I think that's it. Maybe not. Maybe that was the stripes. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I don't know. I'll look them up again. That was just the regular pearl. There's our tweed. And that was our simple. And of course, my printer's going to reset. The grid stitch that we just recently did, which I thought was, and this was my first attempt at the grid stitch. And you can tell I went through the wrong thing because I didn't get the grid. But I wanted to share my boo-boo too. This was the right side seed change. And this was the left side seed change, but I used too close a color, so you can't really see it because there's orange and red there. But I have a little pack with safety pins and little strips of paper, and when I finish a stitch, then I can fill in what it is and pin it to it. So that's how I'm keeping track of my stitches. I think some others are writing on pieces of muslin and attaching it, which that could be cool to do for if you wanted to leave the name, like maybe on the bottom right-hand corner of each of your blocks, you could permanently sew it on there if you did it on some kind of tape. And that way your sweater could like scream, hey, I'm this stitch, I'm that stitch for you. But that's how I'm keeping track of the names of the blocks. And I will do my best to find a tutorial or I'll struggle through and do another one for you guys. So that is all I have for now. Well, basically what we're doing here is we're working our way through this book. I'll show the book again. I got it on Amazon. Tunisian Crochet Basic and Textured Stitches. This is volume 1. And Pam, I think you said there were 3 books. I think there are 3 volumes. So we're just working our way through this. And the striped reverse stitch is stitch number 11. I have more than 11 blocks because of my boo-boo blocks and, you know, different attempts. And total in this book, there are 50. And there is a pattern in the back for an infinity scarf. You know, one of those that goes around. So it's pretty interesting. It does tell you how to do increases and decreases. We might do that as the very last thing we learn. I'm just doing a basic 20 stitch block. Interesting. All right. So I'll see you guys next Friday for this crochet along. Basically, this is another crochet along, but it's a Tunisian crochet along. And there is a playlist on my channel. So if you want to go back and start at number 1, you can start making the blocks and catch up with us. All right. Bye, guys.